Hi, it's Dr. Denise with a second of my Woodland Diaries, and I hope you're going to enjoy having this more leisurely discussion with me about what it's like to be a woodland owner. One of the things I've been thinking about is getting prepared for winter, just like you prepare your car or something. And 4 years ago, the tent I had was beautiful in the summer. And then by the end of the winter, it had gone a bit green, a bit black. And the decision we took was to move it under, I've got a 50-foot parachute, which is base camp, was to move it under there. And I thought that was a good idea. It's only now I found out that's why it was going even worse, because there was no airflow. So the summer, it never got the sun. And in the winter, there was not enough air. So having bought a lotus bell, it's now out in a much more open area, and the old tent has been moved out, and I used wet and forget, and it's not green and it's a lot less black, and because the weather's been so good, it's been getting some sunlight on it. So that's almost like my experiment, and I can see how it's going. So that's a good idea, because the lotus bell tent costs quite a lot more money than that one. And I initially had some clear tarp put over it. I thought clear looked better, it wasn't hiding anything. But I was using some waterproof tape, which was fine, until it all fell off. So it was like, well, what's my alternative? So I've been looking into that, and I've now got better quality, 220 grams tarp with grommets, holes every 50 centimetres. And I've done a sort of washing line thing and I've hung it up on 2 of them just as a trial go, because I don't think the weather is as such where it needs protection just yet. And I'm protecting it against the mould, lichen, moss type of stuff, rather than, just a leaf brushing against it. And it's taken a while. It's taken a while to work out a system using carabiners and bungees and tarp pegs. And I'm now reaching a point where I don't want this to be a job. So I'm going to go and have a wander around the wood. I'm going to change the trail cam cards. Going to just see what's going on out there. And that's what I like to do when I'm at my wood. I don't just want to work. It's like I'm here to chill and to get some ideas for different things. And interestingly, something I've started doing is writing a novel, which I've always been into dystopian fiction. And it's related to the wood, and I'm not going to tell you more, but it's really interesting. It's just really flowing. I guess I've often wondered what would happen, if society breaks down, if there's no electricity, what on earth would we all do? So that's and I'd go into my wood. So that's the scenario, and I'm quite creative, and I've got a good imagination, and I can put myself into scenes. That's what I get from doing improv. So I'm working on it, and it's going quite well. I seem to know what the story is going to be like, because it's very close to how I've imagined things. So I'm working on that. And I think as I wander around the wood, I'll start dictating some more chapters, because that seems to be a really nice way to write rather than sat at my computer. The more I can dictate, the easier. But I really just want to be around the wood just to be. So this has been my main task today, has been to do a trial, to set up a couple of tarps and just see how they're going to go, and then when I come back next week. But it's certainly autumn, and the track I had put down is now covered in leaves. And I don't know if you can hear, but there's so many sounds. I mean, there was all the birds earlier, they've gone quiet. But I've got a lot of oaks. I love my oaks and acorns. The ground is covered in them. So I don't know what the squirrels are doing, because they should be taking them all away. But they seem to be little tiny acorns, not the ones we're used to seeing, in the little cup type things that fairies use the cups to drink out of. You know what I mean? But everywhere I look, the ground is covered in them. So we'll be interested to see just how many are here next time. Because I want to do my diary once a week, and I'll either come on a Friday or over the weekend, or possibly both. I was going to stay tonight, but I'm going out early tomorrow morning with some friends, and I think I'm probably better being at home and having a shower before I go out than coming straight from the wood. There's a microlight just flying over. Yeah, so there's I think when you're a woodland owner, you either have it and you really just want to leave it and do the absolute minimum, or you're like me and it's going to be something that you want to have as a base. And if you're going to have it as a base, then you want to be comfortable and you want to be able to make a fire and you want to be able to have somewhere where you can keep warm when it's raining and make a cup of tea and stuff. Honestly, there's been nothing in the air apart from birds all morning. And then just because I've decided to start filming, I've got them. Is there anything else to say? I am just so joyful being here in the wood. It is really the most important part of who I am. You know, I've got a doctorate in psychology. I've got my 9th book coming out in less than 2 months' time. I'm noted for my business side, but that's not the most important thing to me. The most important thing to me is caring for a wood and doing it with being as minimally evasive as I can. Now, if you came in, you saw my base camp, you go like, well, that's not minimal. But that's in one small area. The rest of it is for nature, and I tread softly. And I always encourage other people when they're whether in my wood or just out in nature, it's about treading softly and paying attention to what you see. So this is my 2nd Woodland Diary, and I think I'll probably get into a bit of a flow. And I'm going to go back to landscape, whatever social media says about it should all be in portrait. It just seems easier for me. And I'm not doing this to chase likes and shares and goodness knows what. It's all part of my legacy about talking about what it's like to be a woodland owner. And maybe it's for friends and relatives. And maybe it's for me in 20 years' time when I'm looking back and thinking, you look pretty good back then, girl. But also just as a memory, as a journal about how things change at the wood. Because I do keep a written journal, but I like sharing through speaking as well, as long as I don't have to follow a particular script. So until next time, Dr. Denise from Bluebell Wood. Take care. Bye-bye.